Uplifting news stories are getting few and far between these days. All we hear are wars here, disasters there, and just plain bad news everywhere. Admittedly, these stories tend to get the kind of depressing. But it is what it is. Negative news seems to be the way forward these days. However, this does not mean that good people have suddenly disappeared from our planet. There are millions of people out there who perform such acts of kindness and charity that will certainly rejuvenate your faith that there's still goodness out there in the world. So today, we bring you a list of 10 acts of kindness that will restore your faith in humanity and give you the uplifting you need to look at the bright side of life. We have compiled this list to show you that no matter how bad things were, good people were still out there watching out for others. Let's go. Number 10. New clothes. 11 schoolgirls at a special needs school in India got a special treat when they were given new clothes by a generous donor. However, what made this moment special was that the donor wasn't a rich man at all. It was a 64-year-old beggar. Kimjibhai Prajapati used to run a small tea store until it folded, and he was forced to beg on the streets. However, that one untoward event hasn't changed his view on life one bit, as he was continuing to help people, those more unfortunate than himself. In fact, upon being interviewed about the donation, he revealed that he wanted to give something to the girls for a long time and kept saving money until he could buy the clothes. A trustee of the school who witnessed the donation, he praises on Prajapati and called him a genuine philanthropist. Number 9. The Saint. While this particular act of charity didn't involve money, it did involve the priceless act of saving someone's life. Folks at a truck stop in Oklahoma had a doozy of a problem back in October of 2012, when a frantic couple pulled over and asked for help. The woman, who had just given birth to a baby with the umbilical cord tied around its neck. The baby was unresponsive, and the bystanders feared that emergency medical personnel wouldn't make it in on time. Fortunately, level-headed homeless man Gary Wilson knew what to do. He took instructions perfectly from a 911 dispatcher, unwrapping the umbilical cord from the baby's neck and gently massaging its back. Medical personnel who arrived at the scene later commended Wilson in handling the situation calmly and correctly. Though he had vanished the next day, one employee of the truck stop noted that Wilson looked like Jesus, with long hair and a beard. Wilson, if you're watching this video, please reach out and let us all know if you really are Jesus. Number 8. Wandering Chinese Beggar. When he was 18 years old, Wang Zihao discovered that his real parents gave him to another family because they were too poor to raise another child. Also in China, couples were only allowed to have one child back in the day, and if a couple were to have a second child, the fear of being prosecuted usually led them to drop the kid off at an orphan home. This was a changing point for Zihao, and he made the decision to start begging for money to help poor people in his country. His routine typically included staying in a particular locale and begging there for about a month. Afterwards, he would contact the media or the administration of a city and ask them to find a needy person to whom Zihao could hand over the monthly proceeds. In his 15-year-long career, Zihao, who is now close to 50 years old, has given away more than 50,000 yuan in all the years since he started begging. The best part of his donations is that he keeps a track of every time he makes one, and he has receipts and bank books as proof too. Number 7. Honesty goes a long way. Whoever has the notion that honesty doesn't exist anymore may have never heard of Billy Ray Harris. In February 2013, the 55-year-old homeless man from Kansas lucked out when a woman accidentally dropped her engagement ring, worth thousands of dollars, into his cup as he was begging on the street. The woman only realized her mistake sometime later and rushed off the street to meet Harris. She found him at the same spot and asked if he found her ring. He said he did and proceeded to give her ring back with the grateful woman. He said he did and proceeded to give the ring back to the grateful woman, who then gave him all the money she had on hand. However, that reward was nothing compared to the internet fundraiser that the woman's fiancé put up for Harris. Netizens who heard of the story contributed to the fund, which soon ballooned more than $100,000. Harris later explained that although he was tempted to sell the ring, he knew that it wasn't right and he patiently waited for the woman to return to him. Number 6. MISHRA'S legacy. On her 100th birthday, an Indian widow named Sindhubala Mishra decided to put her little plot of land to good use and donate it as a site for a children's park and orphanage. Mishra, who married when she was 9 years old, recounted how she was forced to be homeless and live on the streets after her husband died only 2 years later. Her family and in-laws wouldn't take her in, so she begged for alms to stay alive. However, what separated her from other beggars was her savings. She kept on saving money aggressively enough to buy 1/4 of an acre of land. Now, her only wish is that her donations give homeless children a proper chance in life. Her generosity has inspired other individuals and groups to contribute funds and supplies for the project, with some offering to build the orphanage and park for free. Number 5. Benny. For years, the residents of Salem, Oregon, have been hunting for the hidden $100 bills that appear all over the place. Every bill is signed Benny, but that isn't the mysterious philanthropist's real name. Residents of Salem have discovered the Benny bills almost everywhere, hidden in baby carriages, slipped through car windows, or tucked into sleeping bags of homeless people. Benny has given out an estimated $50,000. For many of these recipients, that $100 appeared at moments when they desperately needed the money. This act of generosity inspired the entire town to pay it forward, with some people adopting the practice on their own. For the individuals who are lucky enough to receive a Benny when they aren't actually in need, many citizens have given the money to charity or slipped it into someone else's pocket. While the original donor is a mystery, the practice quickly became a town tradition that will live on for a long time. Number 4. GLORIA CAMPOS. Most parents looking to adopt a child prefer babies, so it's much harder for older kids to find permanent homes. GLORIA CAMPOS was a news anchor for WFAA in Dallas, Fort Worth, when she featured the story of a boy named Keontae, who was a part of a Wednesday's child adoption program. His first adoption didn't go through. He had also been in foster care where they overmedicated him with drugs that turned him into a sluggish zombie. GLORIA was determined to make sure that he found a good home, so she aired a second story featuring him. That time, Carol and Scott Cook saw Keontae and knew that he was the son he always wanted. As he grew older, Keontae, realizing what happened to him in foster care was a form of abuse, he spoke before Congress to bring to the attention the conditions of children in foster care. As a teenager, Keontae surprised GLORIA on the news to thank her for bringing him together with his new parents. Keontae and GLORIA had a tearful reunion on camera. Number 3. The Wedding Gift. A.J. Munot, a rich businessman in India, set aside £100,000 for his daughter's wedding. This may sound ludicrous to most people, but the newly rich in India have been known to spend as much as £59 million on a wedding. In a country where there is a huge amount of poverty, many have criticized these mega weddings as being in poor taste. However, Munot decided that the money for his daughter's wedding would be put to better use by helping those in need. He purchased 2 acres of land and built 90 small houses with electricity and running water. Then he found homeless people who needed a place to stay. The only requirement was that these people not be addicts. Munot's daughter loved the idea. She considered it to be the best wedding gift she could have ever received. The family was still able to have a beautiful wedding on a fraction of the budget. When his good deed was covered by the news, he encouraged other fathers to begin a new tradition of charitable donations as wedding gifts. And now get ready for today's top pick, building homes. At number 2, from huts to villas. At 54 years old, Zhang Shuihua had more money than he could have ever imagined. He grew up in this Yangfei village in China, where everyone lived in small huts and struggled to survive. The people in the village had helped raise him, and Shuihua wanted to return their kindness. Once he found success in the steel industry, he had everything he could have ever wanted. So he decided to use his money for a good cause. He spent $6 million bulldozing the village and huts and replacing them with luxury apartments and paved roads, which he gave the villagers for free. The villagers were the 72 families that lived in the same village as he grew up in. Furthermore, there were 18 families who helped his family during the most tough times of his childhood. So, in order to show his regard, he gifted them luxury villas instead of the apartments. To top it all off, the Chinese millionaire also ensured that all the elderly residents of the area with low-income homes would be given 3 free meals every single day for the rest of their lives.
Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that will take just 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell and you get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it. It really works.
Number 1. Sir Nicholas Winton. It was 1938 in Czechoslovakia. In his late 20s, Nicholas Winton was a stockbroker from England on a trip to Nazi-occupied Prague. Although Sir Nicholas had been baptized as a child in the Anglican Church, his parents were German Jews. In Prague, he noticed that the city was filled with Jewish orphans whose parents had been killed. Nicholas took it upon himself to find families who were willing to adopt these children and paid out of pocket to transport them on a train from Prague to London. He managed to find homes for 669 children. In 1988, the BBC program That's Life asked to interview Nicholas about the experience. He was so humble that it took years for him to get any sort of recognition. While the cameras were rolling, the BBC gave him a big surprise. The announcement was made. Is there anyone in the audience tonight who owes their life to Nicholas Winton? If so, could you please stand up? Several rows of people surrounding Nicholas stood up. The entire audience was filled with the people he had saved and their families. In 2003, the Queen of England knighted him, giving him a well-deserved title, Sir Nicholas Winton. He died on July 2015 at the age of 106. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching today's video. Hope that you liked it, and please stay tuned for some more great content.